Hi, so to decide what you want to plant in your garden, biggest number one rule, plant what you're going to eat. If you don't like it, don't plant it. If it sounds weird, don't plant it. Plant what you like to eat. We like to eat lots of potatoes. I just planted 50 potato plants, maybe more than you need, but we really like potatoes. We plant carrots, we plant kale, we plant lots of green beans, pole beans and bush beans. We plant lots of onions, which I already talked about in another video. And I'll dedicate another video to beans. But today, right now, is just picking out what you're going to plant. So here's my seed collection. It's maybe a little excessive. Don't start out with this many. So, like I said, if you're ordering or going through the store, buy what you're going to plant. You'll have extras probably. You can save those for years. Well-kept seeds are good for at least a decade, so don't worry about old seeds. So I'm just going to go real quick through here and just pull what I'm planning to do this year. Arugula, not that bean. There's a bunch of different beans in here. Beets will do. My favorite for beets is one called Cylindra. It's a long, slender one. They get really big. My biggest one of these was 3 pounds, and it was still pretty good. So these are a really nice one. Good space saver if you want lots of beets in a smaller space. Detroit Dark Red's another really good one. Yeah, those are the two I'd recommend. Broccoli, I'm going to try broccoli this year again. More often than not, it bolts. Broccoli really doesn't like stress, so any kind of stress and it's just going to bolt and give you tiny little headlets. Cabbage, I'm going to plant my sauerkraut cabbage, which I'll talk about later, and I'm going to plant, I'm just going to plant that one. The other cabbage is great from Thistledown Farms. We will plant carrots and a couple different kinds that we've saved. Swiss chard not this year. Got some still growing out there. Cucumbers, we always plant some. A variety. I've got zucchini's out of order. I got a couple slicers, Armenian. This is a pretty old seed, but I'm going to try doing this pearl cucumber. We usually do lemon cucumber. I'm going to have to find seed for that. We're out right now. I'm going to try a couple different eggplant. Kale, of course. Red Russian's a favorite, and another variety called Red Ursa, which is very diverse. Probably have a whole video on kale in a little while. Leeks not yet. I'm going to do some melons because it's likely to be a long hot summer. So I'm going to do, what do we got? We got a whole bunch of different ones. Let's try a watermelon. Let's be optimistic. A muskmelon, cantaloupe, Navajo melon, which is sort of watermelon-y. That's probably enough for this year. More cantaloupes. Mustard greens, they just keep reseeding themselves, so we've got plenty of mustard greens out there from previous years, just coming back again and again. I already started peppers from onions from seed. I think it's a little late to start most of our peppers. I'm going to try a hot pepper. I'm going to get peppers from starts. I'm just going to buy starts this year for peppers. Likewise, tomatoes. It's a little late to start tomatoes indoors. Squashes and pumpkins, on the other hand, are a great time to start indoors. Do some radishes. Spinach, likewise, often tends to bolt, but I'm going to throw some seed out there anyway. Squash, delicata's a favorite. Zucchini, I already have that one out. Do a couple different zucchinis, the Black Beauty and the green. Pretty similar, but I like to plant a variety. Squashes, that's enough for squash. Tomatoes, like I said, it's a little late, so I'm going to just buy starts this year. And lots of different tomatoes, get through those, and that's our regular vegetables. These are my perennials and herbs, both medicinal and culinary. So artichoke, we've got those going nuts. They overwintered fantastic because it was so mild. I'm going to do basil. We're going to have a lot of artichokes this year. I'll talk about how to deal with them and later in the season. Basil, lots of different basils. Calendula, that reseeds itself just fine. I saved those seeds to give away. Chamomile, likewise. My perennial collards I've already got going out there because they're perennial. Let's see, gonna do some dill, but that just gets chucked out in the garden and grows where it wants. That's all coming back as a perennial. That's a perennial, I already got those. Lamb's quarters is mostly a weed, but it's a delicious one. I'll talk about weeds you can eat in another video. That's marshmallow, we got growing that perennially. Perennial sea kale, so I think that's it for, yes, that's it for herbs that aren't perennials and growing back here anyway. Alright, next thing is what you need to start indoors and what you can just plant directly outdoors. Squash, you really ought to start indoors. Tomatoes and peppers and eggplants, likewise, need to start indoors and start early. It's sort of late for my eggplants as well, but I'm going to try it. Cucumbers and squashes all start indoors in a pot, in a starter pot. Spinach goes directly into the ground. All of your leafy vegetables go right into the ground. My melons go get started indoors. Beets go right into the ground. All of your root vegetables, carrots and beets, hate being transplanted. If you transplant your carrots, you're going to damage the root. You're not going to get a carrot. You're just going to get a little stub. So plant those right where you want them to grow. Kales and arugulas and mustard greens all get planted in salad mix. Get all planted right into the ground. Radishes, dill, and beans all goes right into the ground. Basil I'm going to start indoors, and the only other ones that I start indoors that could go in the ground are my cabbages and broccolis and cauliflowers. They do benefit from a little bit of a head start indoors, gentle transplant out when it's nice and mild, and they do better that way. So, outdoors, all your leafy stuff for the most part, except ones that make a head. All your root vegetables start outdoors, and most of your temperate herbs, your more tropical stuff, melons, eggplants, peppers, tomatoes, hot herbs like basil, or hot weather herbs like basil, should be done indoors. So now we got that figured out. The next lesson will be starting these seeds, because there's a couple tricks to some of them to get them to start well indoors, and then we'll do some stuff right into the ground and a special one just for beans. And I gotta get to the back of the camera here. See you soon.